Oma Gyan Timanandasya Ginangana Shalakaya Chaksunimilitam Jena Tasmai Si Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Shwayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. You know, when you get older, your memory fails you. Govinda Maharaj calls it a senior moment. You're trying to remember something from the past, and although you quoted it 1,000 times, it's just not there. So, I was thinking when I came here to Joburg, I couldn't remember how many disciples I actually have, although I do have a list. Everyone's there, and I think of you and pray for you, always. But in my mind I was thinking, yeah, maybe, I told Swarup, maybe we could visit 4 or 5 houses or something, And now I'm seeing this like army of devotees, so thank you so much. And I think we'll all agree it's been too long. It's been years, actually. Previously, the way the world was going, I could come once a year. There was even a time when I lived here. Not in Joburg yet. In Durban, the farthest forest from Vrindavan. Van means forest, in Sanskrit Dur means far away. So, it's been too long. Primarily, of course, it was due to the I don't even want to say the word, it's like a 4-letter word now, the pandemic. Everyone has their story. Some have long stories with the pandemic, but that was really the obstacle which kept us all separated. It was 2.5 years, practically 3 years, and everyone in the world was in a similar situation. And I think the hardest part of that pandemic was that for the whole world actually was being separated from family, from friends, from compatriots, it was the most painful thing. Because it's kind of a crude term, but psychologists say that we're social animals. We're animals, we eat, sleep, mate, and descend, okay? Don't get proud, we're animals. But, well, like all animals, they're social. We have flocks of birds, and what do you call fish when they come together? Schools of fish, and so we're social animals, and we, human beings by nature, they thrive on association, almost to the point of undue association. But in Krishna consciousness, we learn the real value of association. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koi, Lavamatta Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. That the association with a pure-hearted Vaishnava, it's very powerful. So much so that the verse says, Lavamatra. Lavamatra is actually a second of a second of a second. But it's so powerful that one can turn his face away from material existence and again face the all-beautiful Supreme Personality of Godhead. It doesn't really take much because Krishna consciousness is so potent. In fact, one time Prabhupada said that all of you, not referring to you but to my generation, he said all of you, before you came to Krishna, because he came to America and there was the hippie movement and so forth, and the beatnik movement. It was a curious time in America. And Prabhupada said that all of you, before you came to Krishna consciousness, you were unregulated, undisciplined, not clean, you were dirty, your clothes were tattered, and you had so many speculative ideas. You were covered by illusion. It's one of my favorite quotes. Prabhupada said, but when you heard the chanting of Hare Krishna, you came running. I love that. When you heard the chanting of Hare Krishna, you dropped it all and you came running. So why? By hearing the mantra, you come running to this movement. which in those days was something like an anomaly in society. Why? Because Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Vigraha in Sanskrit means form. So the sound vibration of the Maha Mantra is actually an incarnation of Krishna. Kali Kali Nam Rup Krishna Avatar. Yes, the avatar for this age is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but also he brought the process, which is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare. And Krishna's in that sound vibration. So what is Krishna by definition? There's many ways you can describe, people have been speaking about Krishna for 5,000 years. The lectures go on. Radhanath Swami can speak 6 hours. Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. So it's in that sound vibration. So people come, still coming. They will come for the next 10,000 years, which is the golden era of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. And so my point is that by a little association we become invigorated. And therefore it was very painful. I think devotees, just taking an educated guess, we suffered more in the pandemic than the general mass of people. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, because people cried tears. They lost loved ones. They became very ill. Their businesses failed. So it was very painful. But when Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy what was the most painful thing, Ramananda Roy, a realized devotee, a manjari in the spiritual sky, he said, to be separated from devotees, because devotees give us the essence of life. They remind us of the purpose of life. They assist us in leaving this world of darkness, from darkness to light, from ignorance to truth, and from Joburg to Goloka. This world is temporary, full of ignorance and suffering. That world is eternal, full of knowledge and ultimate, complete happiness, forever and forevermore. So, therefore, we need a society. Prabhupada came and he created a society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And when he was asking the devotees what name, we should give, he said, International Society of what? So one devotee said, God consciousness. Prabhupada said, no, Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna is God, and that's our blessing. We know who he is. One time Prabhupada said, he joked, he said, we know his telephone number. So who would want to miss that? Having once come in contact, Brahmanda Brahmati Konya Bhagavanji, Guru Krishna Prasad, Bhai Bhakti Lat Beach. We were bereft of Krishna consciousness. We were bereft of service, which connects us to Krishna. Because when you love someone, you want to serve them for millions and millions and millions of lifetimes. But Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lat Beach. The Krishna comes once in a day of Brahma, but he empowers his representatives at all times in the history of the human race to be present as his representatives who are as powerful by his grace. And they intervene. I don't know how many of you were looking for a spiritual master. It's a classic story. I was looking for a guru, but that's not always the case. People aren't always looking around. But the representatives of Krishna, they stop you. Hello, are you from here? Oh no, you're out of town? We've got a book sale going on in Joburg this week, and we're practically giving these books away at no cost. It's a book will teach you about yoga, how to connect with the divine, how to connect with the supreme, and feel peace and happiness and joy. Are you really happy in your life right now? Come on, be honest. I'm an old Sankirtan devotee. I can make up a mantra. And they'll agree, and they'll buy the book. But when you buy a book from a devotee, what are you really buying? You don't know. You haven't even looked through the book. The devotees won't let you look through the book. They're too busy. You're buying the devotee. You're actually buying the devotee. You met that person, and that person is, a devotee is naturally very happy, a special kind of happiness which is unique in this world, transcendental happiness. You can't be imitated. You can't pay a girl in a Colgate, toothpaste ad, so many thousands of rand to smile with the toothpaste. Buy Colgate, see my teeth, and look how happy I am. It's all fake. For the most part, it's fake. But devotees, by contacting that person who's Rama, the reservoir of all pleasure, you're a spark of that splendor. You become a spark of that splendor. You become you become godly. We are not God. We don't advocate that we're God. If we're God, what are we doing in this mess? But we advocate that we have the same quality as Krishna. Like the ray of sun has the same quality as the sun, but it's not the sun. So we're all godly. And when you meet a godly person, it's a real experience. It doesn't mean you have to meet a saint. That's there. In our movement we have saints. You just meet any devotee who's experienced a little drop of the ocean of Krishna consciousness. You get an idea. Like to understand the ocean at Durban, you just take a drop. You don't have to taste the whole ocean. Just take a drop. You get an idea what the ocean is like. So if you want to know what is Krishna consciousness, our whole culture, meet a devotee. So what the world was really bereft of was association with devotees. And we were bereft of that because we know that. And we had to stay in our, I was in Vrindavan and I was planning to come to South Africa. I had my ticket here. And the government, in fear of what was happening, it was like a tidal wave of fear. The COVID-19. They closed the borders, stopped all the planes from going and coming in. I was on my way to the airport. And there was this rumor, maybe Mauritius is open, No. Okay, I'll go anywhere. Russia! All closed. So I'm in my room lamenting. Wait a minute. Why am I lamenting? I'm in Braj. I'm already home. I'm in Vrindavan where Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago. That's a whole other story. So it was tough. And we didn't cry, crocodile tears. We cried real tears in the absence of those who were near and dear. Especially guru and disciple, or someone you look up to or someone you have a favor for. It was all like, how long is this going to go on? But just like they have that saying, sometimes in a cloud there's a silver lining. So I was thinking about it on the way here. I was thinking, there was a silver lining. Because what? Separation makes the heart grow fonder. If you want to talk about separation in love, which we were feeling, just imagine the gopis. They loved Krishna more than anyone's ever been loved before. And Krishna loves the gopis more than anyone's been loved before. That's why generally the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are aspiring not just for the spiritual world, but specifically for that one planet in the spiritual world where Krishna allows his devotees to associate with him in a very intimate way. Not a mundane way, but a transcendental, spiritual way. You can become friends with God. You can become an intimate servant of God. You can have a parental relationship with God. He can become your lover. So when Krishna was leaving Vrindavan, there's a poem called Mathura Mandala Bhumi. It's in Arisan actually, and one of my good friends, Fakir Mohan, a very nice Gaudiya Vaishnava in his 90s who passed away, he would sometimes sing the songs of the gopis in that poem taken from the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. He went on and on for years expressing various sentiments and various pastimes the gopis were remembering and their feelings of lying down in front of the chariot ready to give their lives up. They'd rather die than have Krishna go to. O my Lord, O gracious to the lowly, thou art now living in Mathura. When wilt thou come to me? O darling mine, my heart is burning in pains of separation. Oh, what shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? Madhavinda Puri, in the mood of a gopi. Singing that song that, it's just, if you hear it, Fakir Mohan would cry. And I'd sometimes wipe his face and drink the tears, thinking that I want that, but you have to earn it. You have to earn it. So, we Hari Guru Vaishnava, we learn emotion, we learn spiritual emotion, which was the whole goal of Krishna consciousness, to awaken love. It's all about love. Transferring our love from everything in this world, which is a perverted reflection, to everything in the spiritual world. It's a slow process. Everyone has their own pace. That's fine. But to do it, you need devotees. It's so hard to do it alone, as we experience. And that's the secret of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he brought a movement which is based on congregational association. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shangopanga Shaparsharam Yagnai Sankatpantai Yashantihi Shumeda Shaha. He brought a movement which is meant to everyone comes together, and we chant very loudly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the intention, a movement of people together chanting Hare Krishna. Because in every congregation you have neophytes, you have madhyam, you have intermediate, and even today in our movement there's very, very advanced devotees. So you're in that kirtan, you're hearing the sound vibration of everyone together plus advanced devotees. And if you're a little weak, you're uplifted. We didn't have that. So it's like, am I going to make any advancement? Yes, because you're feeling for the first time since genuine separation. For the Vaishnavas, that's our process. We, Hari Guru Vaishnavas, not just Krishna, not just Guru, but Vaishnavas as well. Through the Vaishnavas association, we learn to appreciate and take the instructions of our spiritual master seriously. And by the spiritual master's mercy, we learn about Krishna, we learn to love Krishna. It's a formula, it's three things. You can't just have two, you have to have three. So maybe we're not so advanced, we're feeling separation from Krishna, and yes, we miss our Guru Maharaj, but we understand our Guru Maharaj's teachings and we commit ourselves to them in the association of loving God brothers and God sisters. It's so important. Congregational chanting of the holy names. So, in that sense, there was a silver lining in the pandemic. Let's not hope we have to go through it again. Yes, we understand. But the hardest lessons are the ones best learned. That's been my experience in life. I've had many, but the hardest lessons, as painful as they were, the realizations I got from them by continuing my practice of Krishna consciousness, they're etched in my heart. So Krishna is tricky sometimes. Whatever Krishna does is good. You know that pastime, right? The king, he was going on a hunting party, and he was sharpening his arrows to go on the hunting party, and he cut off his thumb. And he's like, oh, my thumb, what will I do now? Oh. And his chief minister, who was maybe a hidden devotee or something, he said, no, Lord, how does the saying go? Whatever Krishna does is okay. What, you rascal? Whatever God does is okay? Nothing happens, the minister said, nothing happens except by the will of the Lord. What? Throw him in jail. They put the minister in jail. Everything Krishna does is good. So the king, but he went on the hunting thing. And while he was out there, he was riding his horse and looking for the animals to shoot or whatever like that, and he got lost. He got lost in the forest. He was all by himself. He got separated from his band of hunters, his men. And his horse tripped and broke its leg. As the story goes, he's walking around looking for shelter, and there were some bandits in the forest who wanted to get a human being to sacrifice for the goddess Kali. That's there somewhere in the Vedas, I don't know. Or it used to be. So they're looking for some human being, some poor fellow, they can take and offer to the goddess Kali. And they found him. They found the king. This will be a nice meal for Kali. So wherever they took him somewhere to the sacrifice, and they're looking at him and they're washing him and dressing him. But the king, no, I'm the king. Yes, very good. We're going to get much Kali Kripa. Who wants Kali Kripa? You want Krishna Kripa. So and they saw he didn't have a thumb. So the head priest said, "No, we can't use him. He only has one thumb. We're not going to give an imperfect offering to Kali." So they threw him away. And he wandered. Somehow he met his fellow hunters, and they took him back, and then he's sitting there. Wow, that was a close call. So the word reached the minister in jail, and he said, "Look, can I just have one more darshan with the king?" So they let him out, and he came to meet the king. He said, "Sir, you see, everything Krishna does is good." And then the king remembered, I got my thing in. But if I hadn't done that, I would have been eaten, I would have been sacrificed. So I was thinking like that. Pandemic was difficult, but now we're, as much as you were hankering to see me, I was hankering to see you. And you're just thinking about one person. You were missing one person. I was missing all of you. So thank you for coming. So in one sense, it's brought us even closer together. And I was thinking the real silver lining of the pandemic was that in the absence of our guru, was that we became more attached to his Vani. There was no other choice. The disciples of Giriraj Maharaj, the disciples of Govinda Maharaj, the disciples of Romapad Swami, everywhere I go now, I see they're more attached to instructions. They became more serious in Krishna consciousness. They experienced their guru, not, in your neophyte stage, if you don't have the association of your guru, you feel weak and sometimes people fall away. But if you're attached to the Vani, you can be enlivened anywhere you are in creation. And that's what happened. And that's why, I was sitting there lamenting, wait a minute, I'm in Vrindavan, but what am I going to do here? I was a traveling preacher for 52 years. And a sannyasi in Vedic culture can only stay in one place 3 days. I cheated, sometimes I stayed 7, 12. But moving, can you imagine? In a different bed every 3 days for 52 years? And it's not like here. They're taking such good care of me here, Sometimes I was in these ramshackle hotels in the middle of Russia, and, bed bugs were I don't know, they love me. I don't know, bed bugs. That's why I stopped eating sweets recently. For 15 years I traveled in a Sankirtan van with 7 brahmacharis. We're all in the back of the van like that on the wooden platform. One guy moved, we all moved over. We took our showers outside in the snow, and it was difficult. But I loved it. It's like drinking hot sugar juice. It's burning your lips, but it's so sweet. You can't stop. Sharing the holy names. It's nice to chant the holy names. Your japa, I love my japa. I love bhajans, and I love distributing the holy name. It's like perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. There's Dwarka, Mathura, and then there's Vrindavan. There's a special taste you get from chanting, distributing. Either doing it or giving a donation for it. Whatever. It's all, many hands make small work. It's all part of the spreading the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. That's where we get our real taste. So I loved it. All of a sudden, Radharani slammed the door. Literally slammed the door. I'll do Sankirtan in Vrindavan. And I told Govinda Maharaj, he said, no, you're not. You're not going to leave your house. Maybe 5 years. I'm looking around. What am I going to do? And I kind of turn my head, and I have a bookshelf like this. I said, wait a minute. I've read 3 of those 500 books. Maybe if I read them all, I'll have a deeper understanding of Krishna consciousness. And then what? What's my most important service? My disciples. Prabhupada said, we're making so many devotees, but we have to boil the milk. So maybe it's time for me to boil the milk. I've had certain persons who have come to me for shelter, for guidance, as a representative of Srila Prabhupada, of course. Prabhupada means the master whose feet all masters sit. So our qualification is simply we're repeating what Prabhupada has said and trying to set a good example of it. I always am amazed. Someone writes, can you be my guru? Really? Me? What about this one and that one? And no, you. Like, really? Anyway. So, but then I think, as you've taken vows, serious vows, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no sex outside of marriage, no gambling, 16 rounds a day, at initiation, then the guru also takes a vow in his heart that I will not rest until this boy or girl are back in the groves of Vrindavan. That's the vow I take. It may take many births. As long as I'm with Prabhupada, I'm in Vaikuntha. So wherever Prabhupada's preaching, that for me, that's also the spiritual world, non-different. Like Gokul's no different than Goloka. So being with Prabhupada is no different than being with Krishna in the spiritual world for me. One time a devotee, I've said it many times, you probably heard on the lecture tapes, that Adi Shankar asked Prabhupada, and he was a new devotee, he didn't know. Bhakti Rene, Babuba, where are you going when you die? You don't ask your guru that question. Pariprashana Sevayat, you're like, why am I suffering in this world? Who am I? Not, where are you going when you die? The first question he asked Prabhupada. I was like, what? And then Prabhupada, like that, he said, I plan to go to Patala Loka to keep preaching the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I can still hear it. I was like, what? You plan, I didn't say that, you plan to go to Patala Loka? So I think, well, whatever, I'm going with you. Because if I go to Svarga Loka and you're not there, I'll be miserable. But if I go to Patala Loka and you're there and I'm showing you how much I love you by risking my life, even giving up my life for you, I'll do it. I'll do it. So, yeah, separation makes the heart grow fonder. And I was thinking that because my disciples are my first service, I'm running around the world trying to bring people to Krishna consciousness. So if they come, then I have to take care of them. You have to take care of them. You bring your flock of animals, and then you have to feed them. You have to provide water for them and medicine. They're under your care. They're serving you in your farm to take care of them. So if somebody comes and take care of them. So I said, what I'll do is I'll get serious about Shravanam, and then Kirtanam, and then all of us together, Krishna Shmaranam. Shravanam, Kirtanam brings Vishnu, Krishna Shmaranam. Hearing and chanting about Krishna are the prime methodologies for remembering Krishna. And I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of knowledge there. And I became really enthusiastic. And I started reading 10, 12, isn't it, Manjula? 10, 12 hours a day. I'd study. And then I'd speak. And that has been the formula for 4 years. I hope all of you were listening to the Vrindavan series, lectures. Glories of Vrindavan. Now we're doing a mini-series called Stimulation for Ecstatic Love based on chapter 29 of the Nectar of Devotion. Each one of those 365 classes there's 10 to 12 hours of preparation. Because I'm not an intellectual. I'm not. My parents were both intellectuals. They graduated Phi Beta Kappa from Stanford University, highest honors every year for 4 years. My parents were. My father used to say, "Son, look at these grades, Like every time you come home, like where are you when the teacher's teaching?" My mom said, "He's surfing at Stinson Beach." Look at his tan. You don't get a tan from the neon lights in the classroom. My father said, "You're not good at anything in this world." He used to say like that. It made me feel so bad. I've watched you. You're not interested in anything, any career. You can't do anything properly. What's going to happen to you? So when I joined the movement, I said, "Dad, you love to hear that. It's a good thing I didn't have any interest, because here I am with the real duty of life, becoming Krishna conscious, doing the most important thing." Isn't it? So I thought, so 10 hours for each class, that's what it takes me. But I've gained so much personally. So much. I was thinking, privately, that was a good pandemic. Don't repeat me. You have to edit this out of the class. That was the hardest lessons are the ones best learned. Ultimately, nothing is unfortunate for a devotee. Krishna will never give us a test that he feels is too difficult for us. And sometimes the tests, everyone has their story, tragedies in life. Sometimes doubt, like how, why? But there's a reason. So for devotees, they took advantage. There was a lot of chanting going on, a lot of reading, a lot of self-searching going on. What are the obstacles? Why am I not crying when I chant? The Shikshastra compares, basically they're to encourage us to chant, to bring about that bhav. Why when I chant after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, why isn't a tear coming down my cheek? Because it's all about love. Love for the devotees, love for your guru. I asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj one time. I said, Goswami Maharaj, I never called him because he was senior. Goswami Maharaj, what's the most important quality of a disciple? Because I was about to start initiating. So I said, I want to study my disciples to see if I'm going to accept them. So what's the most important quality a disciple can have? And he shot back. Goswami Maharaj was like such a devotee. He shot back. He said, Guru Nishta. He said, faith in the spiritual master. Because from that faith in the spiritual master comes everything. Everything will be there. What's the verse I always quote about from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita? Can you pull it up for me? She helps edit my classes, so if I forget something, she's in her 30s or something, 40s. What? Oh, sorry, 20s. For me, this is le crème de la crème en français. Et la île de Maurice ne parle français. In Mauritius, they speak. I was so happy. I forgot. I got there and they're speaking. Je parle français aussi, madame. Merci. Merci beaucoup, madame. Listen to this verse. Param gopyam apeshnigde shishye vachamiti shruti tachturyatam mahabhaga goloka mahimaduna. The Vedas say, if I ever got a tattoo, this would be. Tattoos. I did the other day and I saw some of the devotees going like this. I'm not into tattoos. Chaturama is one of my best friends, but he's got tattoos everywhere, except here. This would be my tattoo. The Vedas say that to a loyal disciple, one may speak the confidential secret. Therefore, O most fortunate one, now please hear the glories of Goloka. That's our goal, Goloka Vrindavan. Sometimes you can't see the forest through the trees. Is that the right? We're involved. We have our social life, and wow, the Sunday feast, like what are they cooking there? We're going to see there, and we're going to go for a ride together, and take a walk, and we're going to, and we have our social life and we have everything we do, but why are we doing it? Why are we doing everything we do? To go back to Goloka. So I thought, rather than give, another lecture, Aham Brahmasmi, I'm spirit soul, not Aham Mameti, I'm not this body, how terrible is this world, the three modes of material nature, creation. If you look at my tape ministry, it's going back to 1980 or before I took sannyas, they were recording. There's so many, and I was listening. They're all, that's important. That's our tattva. I thought I'd take a risk and speak on something higher because Shiva Maharaj did it. Gopi Paranadhana, they're my heroes. They were speaking on more elevated subject matters, but and to the same group of people I'm speaking to in ISKCON, because we have to remember the goal. You can't give up something unless you get something better. Half the process is anartha-nivritti, renouncing this world. You can't become Krishna conscious and enjoy sense gratification at the same time. So many lectures, stop sense gratification, follow the principles, this is hellish. Okay, I'm 75, can I go a little deeper? And remind my disciples that to give up this world, you have to become attached to Krishna. It's not enough to say get renounced. You have to become attached to Krishna. So who is Krishna? So I thought at this last stage of my life, I'm in the twilight of my years, I won't be here that much longer. 5 years, 10 years, 15, I don't want to be 95. Hurry, ball, everybody. What's your name again? What's my name? No, seriously. So I thought, I've gone through all the I've preached on all levels, not as good as some of my godbrothers, even godsisters, but the knowledge is there. And I can always direct you to Prabhupada's books, which is perfection. But by speaking about Goloka in particular, I'll also learn about Goloka. And I'll also hanker, so that when I die, that will be my heartbeat, because you go to where your heart takes you. I don't want to go to Vaikuntha. What? But that's Aishvarya Bhav. That's Sir, yes sir, in the military, right, in the Marine Corps. When we addressed our superiors, we didn't say yes sir, because we were the elite fighting unit in America at that time. We had to say, sir, yes sir. Sir, yes sir. So Vaikuntha, well, I'll get in trouble here. Vaikuntha is that awe and reverence. You're the master is Krishna, you're the servant. Of course, it's very wonderful. It's very sweet. It's one of the rasas. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world to give the understanding of Braj Bhakti. Krishna can be your friend. You can wrestle with him, and you can win by his grace. Of course, it was first introduced by Madhavendra Puri. By the way, Madhavendra Puri in the spiritual world is a tree. He's a tree. Just to give you an idea that everything and everyone in Vrindavan is special. He's a tree at Nidhivan. And Nidhivan is where Radha and Krishna have their very beautiful, loving pastime. He's witnessing, facilitating by giving shade and flowers and protecting from the rain and everything. He's a tree. So he was speaking about Braj Bhakti before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu, Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prem Padayate Krishnai Krishna Chaitanya Namne Goshe Namaha. When Rupa Goswami saw Mahaprabhu for the first time, who is this incarnation? He's come in Kali Yuga. What's he giving? Braj Bhakti. How to become a lover of Krishna, how to cry in loving sentiment. So for the people of Kali Yuga, I think I'm definitely a product of Kali Yuga. If you saw my photo before I was a devotee, this guy's a product of Kali Yuga. Oh my God. Here I am. It's all Prabhupada's mercy. So we have to take advantage of that mercy. Like Prabhupada's father said to him, the Lord has that form, I think Purusha Shukta, he has thousands and thousands of arms and hands. He said to little Abai, if he wants to give you mercy, what your two little hands can hold. In that Purusha Shukta, he has, the Virata has all that hands. What your two little hands. So we have so much mercy. We have the holy names. We have the Shastra. We have the Dham. We have the books. We have each other. We have to take advantage of it before we die. And it's not just you die when you're 80s or 90s. You can die in the womb. You can die in an accident. We don't know. So we have to be glolian. We have to be greedy. So how do we learn? Tadvidi paripatena paripashana sevaya upadikshanti tegana ganinash tatvadarshanaha. It's just the tradition that out of all the wonderful devotees, there's one devotee who inspires you by the way they speak and by their example, and you accept them as your Guru Maharaj. It's just Krishna's arrangement. All of our gurus are equal in their ability to deliver their dependence, but Prabhupada didn't want that one, take over. He wanted a society, and amongst them there's advanced devotees, and you take it. And as they advance, you advance. That's our process. So you take a spiritual master, and then you focus on his teachings to understand Prabhupada's teachings. And of course, you can have many Shiksha gurus. I always, I encourage my disciples, take shelter of Govinda Maharaj, take shelter of, Shivaram Maharaj, Sachinandan Swami, one of my favorites, Mahatma Prabhu, Gopal Guru. Jayapataka Maharaj has 65,000 disciples. There's so many. But there's one person who, when they speak, sometimes they ask me, how do I know what my guru is? Well, when that person speaks, you go, oh, now I understand. Now I understand. And Shiksha Guru confirms that. Just like I initiated a 15-year-old girl the other day. This girl, Shiva Rama said to her, you have to take initiation from Indradyumna Swami this year. I was thinking she was going to take initiation from Shiva Rama Maharaj. She's so special. She's just so fixed. She's been chanting 16 rounds since she was 12. She does pujas. She learned Hungarian. She's Hungarian. She learned English in 6 months. What name did they give her? No. Kali Kunja Sundari. Shri Kunja Sevani. What a name. Shri Kunja Sevani. I was saving that name. See, I can't remember. I have to have disciple tell me. So, and when she came up and said her vows, I had to stop from crying. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I said, are there any difficulties in becoming a guru? At the same meeting I had with him. Any difficulties in being a guru? He said, yes. Sometimes you have to accept disciples who are more advanced than you. I was listening to that girl, I was thinking like that, this girl. Thank you. And she was crying, Guru Maharaj, thank you. I wasn't crying, she was crying, thank you. It was on the video, oh. So, we have to remember our spiritual master. Otherwise we tend to get distracted. Maya is very powerful. So 3 times a day, we sing the prayers to the spiritual master. And we were taught when I was a new devotee, when we wake up, the immediate thing is not turn over and hit the snooze. You immediately pay obeisances in your bed. And you say the prana mantra of your guru, and you say Prabhupada's prana mantra, and Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Hare Krishna. That's what we do. And I've done that. When I wake up in the morning, I pay my obeisances. Then I remember God brothers, even God sisters, who have been a source of good fortune for me. I learned that from Partha Maharaj. He has pictures of, I don't know how many gurus. Yeah, there, and he does pujas and everything. So I can't love my guru without my God brothers and God. I can't love my guru without my disciples. One time Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he gave a lecture on Vyasa Puja, and he said, "You're all my gurus," to his disciples, after hearing their offerings, full of so much love and appreciation and hope. He said, "I want to imbibe the hope you have in me, the love you have in me, the seriousness that you're following my instructions. I want to have that from my guru, Gorkashore Das Babaji." Of course, he's just teaching us something. One time he gave a lecture on the difference between Brahmins and Vaishnavas. There was this controversy going on. The Brahmins spoke first to the people. And so then it was his turn to speak. So he started by glorifying the Brahmins. Like what the debate was, what's better, a Brahmin or a Vaishnava? So the Brahmin spoke, well, we're better. So when his turn to show that Vaishnavas were superior, he spent most of the lecture glorifying the Brahmins. And we like this sannyasi. And he had their faith. He got their shraddha in him. Then very carefully and very strastically, he convinced them Suddha Sattva, that above Sattva or Brahminical life is Suddha Sattva, Vaishnavas. And he convinced them. And then at the end of the lecture, they all stood up. There was 1,000. Sadhu! Sadhu! The controversy was over. The enmity was over. The jealousy was all. Everyone loved. Sadhu, sadhu. And they were looking. He turned. I heard he blushed, and he went like this, like Moses, the Red Sea, and all the people said. And there was his Guru Maharaj, Gorkashore Das Babaji, at the entrance, sitting in the chapals. He was so humble. He could neither read nor write. He couldn't read or write, but he's such an advanced devotee. He was sitting there listening to his disciples speak and nodding his head. Yes, well, very nice. And then when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is giving his guru the credit, the guru ran away. He was embarrassed. So that's love. Love takes many ways. Love's a two-way street. And it's expressed in different ways. So he was just appreciating his disciples' bhakti. So through our interactions with each other, then we love Guru Maharaj. You saved me. That's enough. If you're drowning in the ocean and somebody lifts you up 1 inch out of the ocean, ça suffit en français. That means that's enough, because you're not drowning anymore. 1 inch, okay, c'est pas beaucoup, hein? It's not very much, mais ça suffit, because you're not drowning. But better is to get out of that water which is not your element and go to the land where you belong. So to be saved from the ocean of material existence, it's not enough. The real thing is the guru. Let us say the guru parampara, because by getting a guru, you're getting a current that connects you to the entire parampara back to Krishna, who's the Adi Guru. So wherever you connect into this line, you get the full mercy. Like if there's an electric wire going and you plug into it, wherever you go, you get the full mercy. So those who are taking to Krishna consciousness now, it's not that they have less mercy than Prabhupada's disciples. Oh, I wasn't there when Prabhupada was there, I could have got... No. You're in the current. And if you're open to it, you can get the full flow of mercy. To go where? To Goloka. So therefore, and I'm amazed, I'm still finding subject matters to speak about Vrindavan. this one chapter, Stimulation for Ecstatic Love. I thought I'll get a few things around Braj that I can maybe talk about that remind us of Krishna, like the sky, or like the tamarind tree reminds Radha of Krishna, or the kadamba tree reminds Krishna of Radha, or betel nut, or I don't know. Maybe we get 4 or 5 classes at a stimulation for 46. The last 4 have been about the dust of Vrindavan, Braj Renu. And there's one more that I recorded before I came on the flight yesterday. And that's going to be processed. It's one of my favorite. The last one's like, oh my God. And then after I give it, I go through it and I edit it. I edit. Like, because I heard Prabhupada would also listen to his own classes. So I edit. I said, no, wait a minute. That was the wrong verse. That was the wrong text I quoted. It has to be this from Govinda Lila Mitra. So I missed. So we actually edit a little bit. And I'm sitting listening. I said, I said all that? How do I know this stuff? Because I read and I study and I listen to Godbrothers and I consult the GBC Shastra Committee. I don't want to make any mistakes. I'll get a question and I'll write to Hari Parshad and then I'll say it and some disciples say, Guru Maharaj, that was such an intelligent thing you said. I say, yes, thank you. But I don't feel guilty because we're all just repeating. Who's coming up with anything new? And Prabhupada said, knowledge means to know where to get it. That's all. All the gurus are saying the same thing, but they're all individuals and we all have our, as you become more Krishna conscious, then you become hopefully a little purified. So you may, it's like a prism or a quartz. You shine a light through it, that one light comes out blue, green, yellow, red. So the tattva and the rasa of Krishna consciousness through speakers comes out a little differently. But it's the same tattva and it's the same rasa. And so you just pick the color you like. What's your favorite color? Parthasartha Goswami, he's my favorite color. Shiva Rama, he's my favorite color. I don't know what you guys picked me, I don't know. But that's how it is. And because we appreciate all the colors of the rainbow, we hear from so many devotees. And we love all the Bhagavatam speakers. And we love all the devotees who are hearing the Bhagavatam. And we love all the people who haven't heard the Bhagavatam. That's I always say, what would my festivals be without the people? We love the people because Krishna says he's the seed-giving father of all living entities. So everyone's a brother and sister. So we love to go on Sankirtan. Yeah, maybe we'll get spit on, maybe they'll throw something at us. But we know that by just meeting a devotee and just saying, Hare Krishna, thank you for not taking the book. Excuse me? Nothing, Hare Krishna. 2 times he gets to hear it. He's going away. Hare Krishna, see you next time. 3 times. The Vedas, So it's a play. It's kind of like we get to be part of Lord Chaitanya's Leela. Before Lord Chaitanya, it was all show. It means Krishna would come and only his advanced devotees, all the gopis would appear as male personalities in the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can hear their names in Shastra. But you couldn't go on that stage and be part of that Leela. You had to hear about it and become inspired by Krishna's words. Sarva dharmam parichatam. Sarva dharmam parichatam. Give me the verse. Okay. Yeah, I know, I was just testing. No, I'm getting hungry. So, with Krishna, you just saw the Leelas and you became inspired to take up devotional service. You couldn't jump in Ram Leela. You couldn't jump into Krishna's Leela. Shiva tried. He became at best the guardian of Braj in 4 different places, the Shiva Lingam. He got some special mercy. Okay, he was, gopi for a little while, but you couldn't participate in Krishna's pastimes. You can ultimately, but Gaur, You can be a Jagayanmati, you're the first one in line. It's a miracle. We're part of a miracle. All the Brahmins, you guys wait at the end. Yeah, you're almost there. Bring in the Jagayanmatis. Because Mahaprabhu wanted to show the power of the Yukadharma, the holy names. You'll be delivered by chanting Hare Krishna easily. But you guys, you're a bunch of roughnecks, you know. So chant. And very soon they chanted, became pure devotees, and Madai and Jagayanmati also accepted disciples in due course of time. Therefore, the demigods are praying, let me take birth in Kali Yuga. Because then I can make advancement very quickly. So we're part of that great movement. And I'm happy to be doing it with our little Gana. Gana means group, just like in the spiritual world there's Gopi Ganas, the different groups. We have our little group here. So I thank you for being part of the team and helping me help Prabhupada spread the Sankirtan movement here in this great country of South Africa. Because it is a great country. You've got a big challenge. It's harder to preach here in many ways, but that means you have to come up to the mark, become pure devotees very, very quickly. And I'll keep speaking as long as I can about the Parnam Gatim. And I hope that will continue to inspire you. Okay, and keep listening, because the main connection, really the main connection, even if you don't see me for another 5 years, I hope it won't be like that. Remember, the main connection with the Guru is the exchange of knowledge. Then the relationship is ever fresh. That's my final instruction today. The contact will always be, even eternally, the contact will be there. It will be ever fresh if you're hearing from me and hearing from Prabhupada and other devotees. But it's all about hearing. Take the time to hear, reflect, and act on that knowledge. I almost did like Radhanath Swami, but I'm getting a sign here I have to stop, because we have to go out and spread the mercy. So this is a good class for you to keep and listen to from time to time, especially directed to my loving South African disciples. We can include Botswana and Madagascar and other places, Africa. We love Africa. Yeah. There's so many nice people here to hear about Krishna Consciousness. Today we're going to go to Soweto and chant with our favorite South African devotees, the Black African devotees. They're so sweet. They were the love and life of Kadamba, Kanana Maharaj, who is a great loss for all of us. He was so special to this yatra. But I'm kind of thinking this is service to Kadamba Kanana Maharaj to go to Soweto, because I was supposed to come a few days later, because I had important things to do, like swimming and papayas and everything. But I thought, no, I'll do this for Maharaj. Come a little early and associate with. Sannyasi means to give association, but I always feel when I come to yatras like this, I'm getting energized. I'm getting association, especially with my best friends on earth. One of my best friends, Surup Damodar Prabhu. He's just so wonderful to hang out with. And Sunil Mohan, these devotees I've known for many years, and down in Durban, and we have a wonderful movement and wonderful devotees, and we'll solve all the problems and we'll go back home, back to Godhead. We'll live in that world where every word is a song, every step is a dance, and there's a festival every day. Hare Krishna. Thank you.